know who you are. You haven't been through, because I feel like certain
Your brain hasn't developed.
Your brain hasn't developed, and also you're not going to experience everything in life while you're dating, right? Why? Because we were dating for probably like 7 years, but there are a lot of things that we still haven't experienced. Obviously, having kids, living together was something we didn't experience as well. So it's like once you're married, you're going to experience a lot of different things. The world is going to throw at you a lot of like, you know, challenges and whatever. So now you're a few years in, things aren't working out, and you're kind of like, okay, where do we go from here? It's either we're heading down divorce, or we're just literally gonna like fight every single day, and this is gonna be horrible. Yeah. So then, what do you do in that instance?
When you stood before the altar, you said, "I do," and that means you have made a commitment to do life together. So you have to do life together, and that's where friendship comes in. A lot of couples are not friends. You need to develop friendship, and when you develop friendship in your marriage and your relationship, every dream, every aspiration you have, you are discussing it together, you're planning together, you are looking at how it affects every aspect of your life, and that's what needs to happen. So, like I shared with them during the different events this week, there are presently 3 kinds of marriages. We have the traditional cultural marriages, we have contemporary marriages, and we have kingdom marriages or Christian marriages. A lot of Christians meet in church, get married in church as Christians, but they don't operate Christian marriages. They get married and they want to run a traditional marriage or a contemporary marriage, and then they get into trouble. When they now hit a crisis, they now want to borrow God to come and help them. It doesn't work like that. So you need to do it God's way. And God's way is everything we do, we are doing in unity. We do together. So it's joint knowledge, joint planning, joint decision making. Whatever your dreams or your aspirations are, naked and not ashamed. I'm thinking of this. You know, I'm getting bored of that. I'm thinking I need to pivot and try this. I need to explore this. And then we talk about it, we learn together. But once there is no friendship, definitely it's going to open the door for you to now grow apart.
Following on Marwa's thoughts on that, do we take the word "I do" lightly today? Because you know, again, based on what you've seen, and people getting divorced, and the reason why they get divorced, do you go, you weren't actually ready for marriage, or you didn't take "I do" serious?
Yeah,
they do.
They don't even know what they're supposed to do, because when they're saying "I do," they're thinking sex. So it's like, oh, I'm going to do you. I'm going to do you. So that's all they're thinking of. So, because if you really understand what you are committing to, you will take it serious. So a lot of people say "I do." So I have a book called "Before You Say I Do."
I'm looking at everything.
You know how we say, like, I read a book about it? He's like,
I read
I have a book called "Before You Say I Do."
Love it.
No, vital consideration for singles before you say "I do." Wisdom for couples after you say "I do." So it's 2 in 1. The first session is for single people, things you need to do and put in place before you say "I do." Then the second session is for married people. After you say "I do," what are the things you need to do? So once you understand that, then, because marriage is hard work.
It is.
You've got to be ready to do the work.
For sure. I was just going to go back a little when you mentioned like the 3 types of marriages. And I'm so glad you said it, because especially in my culture, so I'm Sudanese, so where I was born, we have a thing where it's like a lot of families, you'll see Christian families, you know, they're attending church and everything, but then the husband has multiple wives. And so for me, I'm like, okay, you got...
do.
Literally, it's like, okay, you got married, you operate your life as a Christian, but when it comes to your marriage and your relationship, you can't claim that that's also operating in like, you know, the Christian type of way. And then now that you've mentioned it, I'm like, okay, so they've got culture and they've got Christianity put together. And I'm like, for me, it just doesn't make sense. And it's been a thing, like a conversation, a topic that happens a lot, especially in our culture, where it's like, how can you're going to church every Sunday, you're, claiming you're reading your Bible, you're doing all of this stuff, but then your relationship and your marriage doesn't reflect that at all.
Yeah, and you see, there's so much hypocrisy in the church, and many times we'll do what we call double standards. And when it's good for you, you take it. When it's not good for you, you reject it. So those people that go to church, and when it comes to the marriage, they want to have multiple wives, they are not running a kingdom marriage.
Yeah.
That's a traditional marriage. And a lot of people are beginning to push polygamy because we know now population-wise, statistics-wise, we have more women than men. And because a lot of people are advanced in age, they're not my people say, oh no, polygamy, and then they start telling you, oh, the patriarchs of faith had multiple wives. But not really true.
And God never told them to.
There's nothing. So you say, Abraham had multiple wives. Where? Hello? Where? How did he have multiple wives? Abraham had one wife.
Married one.
His wife was Sarah. Sarah brought in a surrogate. So he missed it and God told him, you messed up. So that's not a wife. When the wife died, he now married another wife. So he didn't have more than one wife per
Which
time.
is acceptable.
He
Yeah.
had a side chick that was not of God.
Yeah.
So you go from patriarch to patriarch. None of them were really into polygamy as we think. We just try to interpret it like that. You know,
Justify it for ourselves.
so.
Yeah, I think I like that thing about